We are live from McCoy Stadium. This is Trifecta, and you don't have to move the mic, Evan.
Okay.
Don't have to move the mic. So we're live here from McCoy. It's presented by Trifecta Network. This is the Paw Sox podcast. Right from McCoy, you can see the stadium in the background. Facebook might cut this out because there is music playing in the background, and they can be a little iffy about music in the background.
Yeah, I figure they just started playing the music.
We don't own the music. The music is owned by whoever's playing the music. So that'd be clear.
Yep. Actually,
What's wrong, Evan?
pulling the tarp.
Pulling the tarp. They're pulling the tarp here from McCoy. It is 3:17 p.m. Evan, share the Facebook Live. Anybody listening? Share. It's important to share and like
That's
Facebook Live. You know, I don't know why they're pulling the tarp here at McCoy. I do see some rain clouds out in the distance, but
I mean, looking at the radar, it looks fine.
it shouldn't affect anything. We're seeing what they see, and we don't see what they see, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But we're
That's
here
fair.
to talk about the Pawtucket Red Sox, talk about the game tonight, talk about the Boston Red Sox, maybe get some thoughts on the David Price situation, what's going on up there in Boston, as well as the start by Brian Johnson up there tonight against the Detroit Tigers. So we'll talk about that and much more. But first we'll get to the matchup for tonight's Pawtucket Red Sox game. Who's on the mound for Pawtucket tonight, Evan?
You have. I can't remember his name.
Oh, wow, Evan Cook. This guy covers the team on a semi-full-time basis, basically, for Trifecta Network, and he cannot tell you who the starter is from Pawtucket. I can tell you that I don't know the name as well.
Jalen Beeks.
There we go, Jalen Beeks.
I knew he was the
Second start coming up from Double-A.
Yep. Last week they called him up from Double-A. Last weekend in Durham, the bullpen was absolutely killed. It began last Friday night when Henry Owens was only able to go 2/3 of an inning, giving up 6 hits, 6 runs. I think he walked a few, but he did strike out 1. But again, he only went 2/3 of an inning, so the bullpen was absolutely killed that night. The Paw Sox actually almost came back in that game. They ended up losing that game 6-4, and they ended up losing that game 6-4. Then the next night was the night that Brian Johnson had the cramp in his leg, so he actually. But that game, he only went an inning and 2/3. So over the course of 2 days, you basically got 2 1/3 innings out of your starters. That's not going to help. So they called him up to help out the bullpen situation, and then obviously the Eduardo Rodriguez thing came up. So now you had the extra. You needed to. You're possibly going to be losing a starter, and then. You're possibly going to be losing a starter, and now you might have to see David Price actually going on the DL. He does have, he did get a blister last night, so
David Price going on the DL?
He did get a blister, and it is David Price. So you might be able seeing. Right now, you do have Brian Johnson up with the big club. You might see Hector Velasquez going too. The other day, he only pitched one inning. That was the original plan that was set forth by the Boston Red Sox. So he only pitched 1 inning just in case that could possibly happen. So
Yeah, they were also worried about Brian Johnson and his hamstring as well.
that was the original plan, but
Yeah.
you do have Hector Velasquez, who it's clear that the Red Sox still value him as a possible option at the major league level.
But in his start for the Boston Red Sox this season, when they did call him up, he showed that he wasn't really ready for the majors, or might never be ready for the majors. Pitched for a long time in Mexico, and he had a very successful spring training for Boston. He's pitched pretty well down in Pawtucket as well. But what I saw at Hector Velasquez at the major league level was simply not a major league pitcher, and maybe that'll take time. But he is on the older side in terms of a pitcher and his time frame. So it is unclear about Hector Velasquez.
But if you do ask manager Kevin Bowles, he will tell you that what you saw from Velasquez during his start in Oakland was he was pitching middle the entire night, and any pitcher is going to get absolutely killed. If that's the case, it doesn't matter who it is. So
He's not a speed pitcher either. He's definitely a guy who has to hit his spots in order to succeed.
Oh, he absolutely is.
And there's definitely that learning curve from AAA level to the major level, obviously. And that's something that's going to take some time, and maybe that's something he can work out here in Pawtucket.
Yeah, I mean, like this entire season, even Kevin Bowles will even tell you this. what you saw from him last in that start was not what you've seen here. He's been able to work in his pitches, mix in his pitches effectively, and be able to pitch up and down, left and right across the strike zone to be able to fool hitters, to be able to get outs effectively. He clearly just didn't do that in the game.
That's what happens when it's your major league debut.
Maybe it was just nervousness. Maybe if he does have another start, I think he actually will pitch pretty well. But again, I think it was just...
If the Red Sox gave up on Brian Johnson, you wouldn't have had that complete game shutout for them. So I think they do have some leniency, because when Dave Dombrowski inherited the Boston Red Sox organization, there wasn't a lot of depth starters. And I think he's slowly acquired players that have the potential to fill in. You have Kyle Kendrick down here. Hector Velasquez is another guy that could be a fringe starter. Brian Johnson's proven that he can be a spot starter as well. So I think, credit some of that to Dombrowski and what he's been able to do for the team in terms of trying to acquire starters. Because, they had Stephen Wright, Drew Pomeranz, and Eduardo Rodriguez. So they have tons of starters here. David Price, Chris Sale, Rick Porcello. The issue is they can't stay healthy as a team, as a unit. And now you have Eduardo Rodriguez down after David Price came back. Drew Pomeranz has been battling with injury. Stephen Wright's done for the year. So you have these injuries in the starting rotation. So there's a lot of guys in Pawtucket who are going to continue to get opportunities at the major league level. And one guy to really look out for, I'm going to say it again, is Henry Owens. If he can figure it all out here, if he can hit his spots, if he can throw strikes, which has been his issue his entire career, ever since he broke out from Double-A, getting up to Triple-A, he hasn't been able to throw for strikes. And if he can figure that out, Henry Owens could be a very good pitcher at the major league level. It's something you used to say with Clay Buchholz. If he could figure it all out, he'd be very good. And
like you said, the thing with Owens is he doesn't throw strikes. Even the other day, he pitched effectively, but he pitched 103 pitches in 4 1/3 innings. You're not going to succeed at if you're doing that. So what I expect out of him is he now after his absolutely horrible start last weekend in Durham. He pitched Game 1 of the doubleheader on Wednesday afternoon in a 6-1 Paw Sox win. That in that start he changed up his delivery, so he was giving in that start he was giving more of a leg kick, and then he was also bringing the hands above his head, like during his warm up, like this. Kevin Bull said after the game that he's definitely working on things to be able to try to work more effectively and throw strikes more effectively. Unfortunately, the other night he only just pitched more effectively. He wasn't throwing more strikes effectively. In fact, he hit 2 batters in the first pitch of the game, went to the backstop.
That's what happens when you're trying to change your delivery in the way you throw the ball. It's going to be a learning curve for him, but I think the fact that he is working at it and he sees that he needs to throw more strikes is important. And I think there's definitely a potential for Henry Owens. I don't think his career or chances of being in the majors are over by a long shot.
I don't think they are either, but then again, there are so many guys ahead of him. I think Velasquez is ahead of him now for sure.
I think that was very telling when they had Velasquez only scheduled for a 1-inning work. I think that was very telling.
It absolutely was. I didn't even make the argument. Even Sean Heverland, who threw the first complete game here last night for the Paw Sox, the first one since Stephen Wright did it in July 2013. So. Yeah, he's been pitching well. He's able to mix up his pitches well, and he's able to get guys to hit the ball and make outs. He pitches really well too. So I think I think you could possibly even see him up in the majors before Henry Owens at this point.
It's all going to depend on what happens. What you do here in Pawtucket doesn't translate to the major league level necessarily. So it'll be interesting to see. But the number one topic in this Red Sox organization right now is David Price and the comments he made to the media following Wednesday's loss against the Yankees. And the situation itself was very odd because during that game, Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe put out an interview we had with David Price where David Price essentially just went on. He says he loves his teammates and all of that, but he's done talking to the media unless it's his starting day. And after the game, David Price requested to speak to Evan Drellick of CSNE, or in former Boston Herald writer, spoke to him privately while the rest of the media went to John Farrell's office to get quotes for postgame. And there was yelling, there was expletives, and David Price yelled at Drellick, and people in the media could hear it. And then last night, he went out against the New York Yankees, 5 innings, 6 runs, 8 hits, 4 walks, and a loss. for the Red Sox. And, I heard it on the radio coming in here, but this is a thought that's really been thinking about it. When you come out that strongly with that firepower and then you have that outing against New York the way he did, I mean, that's just embarrassing, right? And the fact is, what's more confusing at all is the article that came out and said he's just talking on his starting days. And then after the game he talks and it wasn't a starting day. He contradicted himself immediately after the article came out. And with David Price, you had a run-in with him here at McCoy Stadium when he had his second rehab start, where he came out of the game and you guys were being shuffled down to go talk to David Price. And then he ran out of the stadium with a tank.
Yeah, so what happened that night was he said that after the game he said that he would speak with the media in the weight room that's down in the right outside the Paul Sox clubhouse. And he went down there. So he was going down there. He had his arm wrapped up, and he was told by the Paul Sox PR staff, "Hey, come over here. You'll be able to set this up. The meeting will be down here within 3 minutes." So he said, "All right," and then he started walking the other way down towards the parking lot.
That sounds about right. Honestly though, when they sign players to this big contracts, when David Price came in, you thought there was some kind of personality issue. He seemed like a nice guy. Yeah, there's a lot of wind going on here. We're in the middle of a little, I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know where this wind's coming from. Looking at the radar.
I think it's coming from the sky.
Oh yeah, looking at the radar, there's no rain in the area, so.
Yeah, so we'll deal with it. But honestly, this is kind of shocking in my mind that you can get a player that's just so wrong for the city of Boston, so wrong for the culture and the climate. Because when you give someone that much money, when you sign someone to that much of a contract, wouldn't you do some kind of analysis, psychology-wise, psychoanalysis? In the NFL, they do this for rookies. They have them take these tests to know what their psyche is, what they're thinking, the way they think, and then you can determine, all right, are they going to fit for my organization, right? So how do you not do that for a player like David Price coming in? That baffles me that they don't do more of these psychology tests on these players.
You would think so. Think they would. Even going back to the Carl Crawford signing, for the previous 6 months before they signed him, the Red Sox had Secret Service following him, his every move. You would think that they would have done it with him. The only thing is, he was brought in by David Dombrowski, and David Dombrowski knew him from his time in Detroit.
And the thing with Dave Dombrowski is he was also a first-year president of the team. But he was a first-year guy, so even him probably didn't know what works and what doesn't work here. And the fact is, no one around here. Wow. Whoa. Wow. We're okay. We almost died. We're good. We're good. We're going to keep on broadcasting. This is live. We are in Pawtucket. This is Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
That was weird.
I wish we got that on camera. I will grab the camera next time. We're in a tornado watch here, potentially. Trifecta Weather is reporting a tornado warning. Hurricane effect. Winds here. Oh, this is live. That's what happens when you do something live. You have umbrellas. I'm going to show this. So, look at that. Look at that. Wow, look at that. It's going. It's gone. I think we got that on camera here. Well, I'd say something went down. We're going to continue because we're true professionals here. We are true professionals. We will continue. This does not waver us. It is windy. I see another one. Land ho. Land ho. It is a war zone. We are dodging umbrellas. They are flying. We're trying to talk Red Sox baseball ahead of the Pawtucket Red Sox game tonight. We're live from McCoy. This is no joke. It's like a war zone. I have never seen more projectiles getting thrown. David Price is doing this. I'm hearing reports that David Price has ordered a weather attack on all members of the media. No, I'm kidding. So I really do think, getting back to the topic here, I really do think that, the wind just picked up all the umbrellas around us here at McCoy Stadium.
Not only that, it's a dirt parking lot right outside here, right? And dust is got my head. That's why I'm looking away.
Yeah, there's a dirt parking lot right outside of McCoy here. But we're live at McCoy Stadium. We're going to continue to talk Red Sox baseball as long as we can. as long as we can. There has been windy. Umbrellas have been flying around. There's one spinning in back of our heads right now, just going round and round. But to continue to talk about David Price and getting brought in here into Boston, it does kind of blow my mind that Dave Dombrowski was making that decision to sign him, and there wasn't anything before in terms of no one who's been around the Red Sox. We're like, hey, you have to be a certain kind of player to play in Boston. And that is true. We saw it with Carl Crawford. We saw it with John Lackey. I mean, John Lackey was able to turn it around, but you've seen players come into Boston, and you do need a certain mindset to play here and pitch here. And especially if a guy like David Price's caliber, you needed someone who could come in to Boston and pitch well. And with David Price, I do wonder if Dave Dombrowski knew essentially what he got or what he was going to get out of him in terms of who works and who doesn't work here. Yeah, you can go.
I was going to say, it is interesting because, again, Tampa Bay guy. Carl Crawford is a Tampa Bay guy. Down there, what does the media pick up? It's not much. So.
And then in Toronto, and then in Detroit. But, we like to blame Dave Dombrowski for a lot of the situations that happened here. And a lot of the stuff that is happening here, because he's the guy in charge. But he inherited a Red Sox rotation that didn't have much. It didn't have a true ace. He had Rick Porcello who came the year before. Wade Miley was in there. Eduardo Rodriguez, Clay Buchholz. They didn't have what they have now. And they didn't have anything. They really didn't. They lost John Lester. They didn't have an ace. So he had to sign somebody. Somebody had to come here and be the ace for the Boston Red Sox. And David Price was on the market, and he was the best pitcher on the market. So they had to go get him. They were left in an impossible situation after they lost John Lester. They didn't have a choice. That's what it really comes down to. They didn't have a choice. They had to get somebody. And they didn't have the assets at the time, or the White Sox weren't interested in trading Chris Sale at that time. Because now you look at it and you're like, well, if you had Chris Sale, you would never have signed David Price. But stuff doesn't work that way, obviously. But yeah.
Now you're even hoping. Well, if you're David Price, based on the last couple of days, you're thinking that there's no shot that David Price stays here after his opt-out and after next season.
Well,
the money does come in play. The money does come in play, but you know what? He looks like he doesn't want to be here. So
right.
If he
does, he's been very supportive of his teammates. He doesn't seem he likes the city of Boston. He doesn't like the media, and the media does get annoying after a while, obviously. But I don't think he leaves Boston if he continues to pitch the way he is or the way he has, because the money's not going to match up. He will get a $100 million plus contract as a free agent if he opts out, guaranteed.
Okay.
The question is, what is it in relation to what Boston would pay him?
Yeah, is it $31 million?
Right.
I don't know.
And that's what made him come to Boston, was that $30+ million or whatever. The difference between him and St. Louis,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, because it was their St. Louis's final offer was like $180, correct?
Yeah, they were the second team in that race, and he chose the money, not the situation. Because I think he's kind of alluded to the situation would have been better for him in St. Louis, and it probably would have. But the money came to play there, and maybe he's made enough money in Boston now where he's like, all right, the money doesn't matter as much. I need to find a situation that's good for me. But he seems to like his team. His teammates support him. I know Rick Porcello defended him on Wednesday after the game, where he kind of defended him. Like, Drellick questioned Price's professionalism, and then Porcello was like, oh, how about your professionalism? So maybe the teammates do support him, and I think they do. But it's an interesting situation here at McCoy. We came out here, there was all umbrellas up, it was sunny, and then all of a sudden they pulled a tarp on the field here at McCoy Stadium ahead of the Paw Sox game tonight, and the umbrellas come flying up like projectiles. None of them hit us, somehow.
Because they had the umbrella above us.
Yeah, true. When there was an umbrella above us, and that flew out too. So if you didn't see that, I think that's probably the most exciting thing about this entire thing. I actually got it on camera, so you can rewind this Facebook Live and do it. But it is very windy here, and we checked the radar, and they should be good for game time. So if you're coming out tonight, it's actually Star Wars night here at McCoy. You're giving out Jedi bobbleheads.
Yeah, I saw them already. They're really cool.
So they're giving out that. So we're expecting a pretty good-sized crowd here at McCoy Stadium ahead of the Pawtucket Red Sox game here. But it's windy now. There was rain showers in the forecast, but It should be good for game time here at McCoy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the rain that was supposed to come through was supposed to go through like between like 3 and like 5 o'clock. So batting practice is, I'm assuming, canceled considering the tarp is on the field right now. But tonight should be a beautiful night for baseball.
It should be a good night, and this weekend should be a good night. They have fireworks here tomorrow night at McCoy Stadium. Did you know the pitching match for tomorrow night?
I don't, but Hector Velasquez is on the mound.
Okay, Hector Velasquez is on the mound. It's good for me.
Yep, and then Kyle Kendrick is going on Sunday.
All right, and we will give some final thoughts here, and then we'll close it up in a couple minutes here. But the Red Sox take on the Detroit Tigers this weekend at Fenway Park, and you're going to have Brian Johnson on the mound tonight. What do you expect out of Brian Johnson here? This is the Major League start following his complete game shutout in Oakland.
I expect not a complete game shutout.
Well, okay, not a complete game shutout.
I mean, saying that, I do expect a pretty good game out of him. Like, even last week, before he came out of the game, he got 5 outs. All 5 of them were by the way of the K. So, I expect actually a pretty good game out of Brian Johnson tonight. The Detroit lineup is better than the Seattle Mariners. I mean, Mariners lineup, you have...
Oh, right, Seattle. I think I said
guys.
Oakland.
You have 3 guys that you really have to worry about. Obviously, in the Detroit lineup, you do have a few more guys. I mean, I still expect a good game out of them, but I don't... You're not going to obviously expect a complete game shutout. Watch, he throws no hitter tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I expect Brian Johnson to be serviceable tonight. I think he's going to go about 6 innings, give up about 3 runs. I think that's what you expect out of him.
Yeah, I'd expect the quality start.
I think the offense is going to be key here for Boston. Even John Farrell has said that it's been very inconsistent, and they need to fix that problem. So hopefully you see them really, start to pick up the offense consistency-wise. They've shown the ability to score runs and to hit the ball and drive the ball well. And in that Yankees series, I think you might not see the stats, but there were some hard hits that were caught, especially Jackie Bradley Jr. hit the ball incredibly well in that series against New York, but there was loud outs for him.
Oh, especially in that first game. If it wasn't 50 degrees, if it was night, and either of the next 2 nights, he probably had 3 home runs on them.
There was one night where he had 3 really well-hit balls.
Tuesday night, that could have been out. That was the night Pomeranz pitched.
Could have been out for him. So I do think the offense will turn it around here for Boston. The road trip is important to note that they went on the road trip 5 games above 500, 3 games out of first place. They end the road trip 5 games above 500, 3 games out of first place. So they were neutral, essentially, on this road trip. So they have a chance at home now. And that's what they got to win games now.
Yeah,
they got to start to pick up pace because they got within, 1 game or 1.5 games of the New York Yankees.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They could have, if they swept, they would have had the AL East lead. But now you come home, it's only for 5 games. Detroit's a decent team. And then you got the Phillies for 4. It's the 2 home and home. And then next weekend, you got the Astros. That's going to be a tough series.
And you're going to have Don Orsello in the Fox National radio TV booth on Saturday. And then you're going to have, Roger Clemens
doing
in the
radio
EI booth.
On Friday night, right?
Yes, Friday. Yep. So I am looking forward to watching Don Orsello once again.
Oh, I am too. It was.
I don't hate Dave O'Brien, but
I don't either. But when you have your when it came out that Don Orsello was going to be doing next Saturday's game for the Red Sox, you had fans were coming out and saying who had that have tickets to next Saturday's game are saying, I think I'm gonna eat the tickets and watch Don Orsello announce the game.
It's gonna be interesting. I kind of hope I see Jerry Remy find his way somehow. Maybe not, maybe it's something off camera, but I think it'd be pretty cool if they have a little reunion there. Somehow, whether it be on Fox or somehow Nesson does something, I don't know. I doubt it'll be Nesson, though.
No.
But yeah, it'd be pretty cool. I think Don Orsello, especially for baseball fans like you and I, we grew up with Don Orsello primarily, exclusively as the guy for the play-by-play for the Boston Red Sox. O'Brien's been good, but O'Brien still has that the WEI radio voice, He's still calling it like it's on radio, and he's kind of gotten better at it, but the chemistry has also gotten better between Jerry and Dave O'Brien. Because last year the chemistry wasn't exactly there.
Yeah, it was almost kind of awkward to watch. This year it is a lot better to listen and watch. Even like Jerry, he has become a little bit more of a homer.
What do you? I mean, the guy's been with the organization for so long.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Like, that's fine with me. You're gonna get that when you're listening to a home team's broadcast. You always kind of need it. Yeah, to a degree. You know, if you watch the Boston Celtics on CSN, you will hear Tommy Heinsohn basically act like he's on the team. And it's, you know, it's fine.
Yeah, or even with the Chicago White Sox broadcasters, anytime the White Sox hit a home run, the home run call is yes.
All right, so that's it for Trifecta Network here live from McCoy Stadium for today. The Pawtucket Red Sox are playing a home game tonight and have home games this weekend, so come out. They have Star Wars night tonight, fireworks tomorrow night. Should be a fun weekend here at McCoy. It's going to be nice weather despite the fact that there was basically like a little like tornado upon us here.
I mean, it's like died down. It's still got the looks like pretty dark clouds, but it doesn't look like it's coming towards us.
No. So thanks for watching. We'll try to make this like a consistent thing live from the ballpark. Right now, we're sitting out near the blue tents at McCoy Stadium, out in right field. But you know, we might be on the grass. One thing, we might be in the press box. Might be down in one of the boxes, the clubhouse. We don't know. You know, it will likely change week to week or whatever we do it. But it should be fun. Thank you for watching.